What's up, everybody? This is Kendall with Boise Music Live. I'm sitting here with my friend Scott Charles. We're going to get to some exciting things about his story, both as a music supporter, business person, but also a player. But I say this in every video, but thank you for all of the support that we have been getting on Boise Music Live. These channels are growing. We love that there's a thirst for content. We love that there's all of these things that people do want to hear about the local music scene, but also hear about who's coming to our town and who can do some really cool stuff at shows. And it's just a delight that we have so much to talk about. So Scott, welcome to the Suturist production / Boise Music Live studio. What do you think?
Thanks for having me. This is pretty tight. Like it's like top-notch DIY material.
Yeah.
I really like this.
You hear that? Scott just gave his endorsement of the material. Thank gosh. This has been a pet project for a while. I won't bore you with the details of all the Home Depot trips that this all required. A lot of late nights, a lot of streaming, a lot of everything like that. But so, with everything that you have going on, I thought I was busy. You're busy. So if you would, without it sounding like a LinkedIn profile, why don't you inventory everything that's kind of going on in your life right now for the music industry?
Yeah, so primarily I am one of the owners of DynaDuo Presents along with Will Pompey. I am the vocalist of Suturist, I am the vocalist of Dead at Dawn, and outside of the music sphere, I am an account manager for a marketing company, and I like the outdoors, and I'm a big like pocket knife and multi-tool guy.
Yeah, and what's your astrological sign?
Virgo, is that?
Whatever those birth months are. Yeah.
I don't.
No, I was just trying to. I know that you're already engaged, and I'm not trying to get you a date or anything like that. But anyway, with anything that comes with music, comes with highs and lows. It comes with when the highs are highs, they're really, really satisfying, and then the lows are sometimes challenges that help grow and shape us. Talk to me about how you got into the Boise scene.
So I moved here later this month will be 10 years. So I've been here since September 2015. I transferred out here to work at the prison from, at the time, Great Falls, Montana. I'm originally from South Dakota. My dad and my mom both waited for a place to where they can transfer like jobs together, and my dad was in radio. My mom worked at the prison, and she still works for that same company. So we waited and waited and waited until something came up to where they could both transfer, and 100.3 The X had an opening for a DJ, and my mom started working at one of the prisons in Kuna, and then I transferred to the prison next door in Kuna as well. So moved here. Spent the first few months that I was living here, living at the extended stay on Vista right off the exit, working graveyard shifts in a hotel room with 2 beds and 4 other people and 2 dogs.
Wow.
So like that was interesting for 2 months working graveyard shifts. And then I slowly started like wanting to get into music because like my dad was a concert promoter. My dad was a musician for a little bit. He's a great singer. And what I would do is I would go down to the record exchange. I looked up like a record store, found the record exchange. So I went to the record exchange and I was putting up flyers, and nobody knew who I was. Like nobody really took me seriously or anything like that. So I just kept trying. But since I worked graveyard shifts, I would sleep all day. And I had finally moved to a place, like my dad was a concert promoter and he would bring people to bars and stuff, like really cool bands, like Saliva. He brought Saliva one time.
Wow.
Gemini Syndrome, Eyes Set to Kill, bands like that.
Yeah.
So like I got to see all those bands when I was like a teenager and stuff, and then like we also went to like the bigger like arena type shows and stuff too. Like my first show was Avenged Sevenfold and Buck Cherry. Buck Cherry headlining over Avenged Sevenfold. That's how long ago that was.
Wow, yeah, that's a whole like other generation, maybe 2 generations ago.
Dude.
That's wild.
So I got into the music scene because I would start going to shows, and at the time, free X shows were a really popular thing with the X. So get the best of both worlds. You get to see bands that you look up to, and then the free X shows also were very famous for like putting local openers on. So you'd be able to see a few local bands that helped like push most of the tickets for the show, and then you got to see like a headliner like Trivium or Red Sun Rising or Hoobastank or Avatar, like bands like that. So like I would just live at the Knitting Factory like from day one. Like the first 3 days I lived here, I went and saw Gwar with Born of Osiris And a couple of my band members in Suturist were in a different band opening for that show.
Wow.
Like long time ago. And then like I got to see like Blacktooth Grin and like Nixon Rodeo was like some friends of mine because my dad booked them back in the day, and like they had a huge following here, so it was pretty cool. Like, and then I just started making friends hanging out at the shows, and I befriended a gentleman by the name of William, not Will Pompey, another gentleman by the name of William Onweiler, and we started working with a band together, and I eventually ended up managing them for a while, and that's when I really like started getting the ball rolling on like booking shows and like getting to know all of the bands in Boise. So like all of the shows that I've done like post 2020 era, most of those are like based on like relationships I made in the past and like a bunch of like newcomers coming up.
Yeah. Well, and that goes to show you, you never know which relationship's gonna spark into something in the future. Never burn a bridge. Be nice to everybody, because you never know. There can have to be a professional contact or just a buddy.
Yeah, like I try and be as generous as humanly possible. Like if stuff happened back in the day and like you come to me and you want to do a show together, like I always like give second chances in that regard. Like I always have. Like
sure.
Like it's like I was an adult when I moved here, but I still consider myself a kid when I moved here. So it's like we were kids back then. Like we've grown up a little bit. Like we had like the world shut down. Like we've all grown up a little bit in a lot of different ways. So like I'm totally okay with like just moving past. Sorry, almost dropped my drink. I'm totally okay with moving.
That's why we're going live to tape for these interviews.
I'm totally cool with like moving past all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's just fun. Like if we can make awesome art together and like make a successful show in the process, then like who cares what happened like 7 years ago?
Indeed, and it's kind of funny. Like people's arc, they change their personality, or maybe they change their value system and everything like that. I'm friends with people who I guess maybe I gave a second redemption to, or something that if you actually get a chance to talk it out with somebody, you might actually get some clarity of what that was all about. Or like you said, it's art, and sometimes that it's just the art. Maybe it's not necessarily a relationship, but that they can put out good art.
Yeah, very much so. Like, I think discernment is kind of lost on a lot of people lately. Like, people just like their echo chambers a little too much.
Yeah.
And it's really affected how we see each other and how we see relationships. And it's really affected us socially and how we behave with our emotions. So it's very much, like, not good. And it's something that, like, a lot of people, like, even including me, like, need to work on. Like, just being more sociable and being just better people in general.
Well, I would say in terms of the actual showing up and being social, you got that in spades. I don't think that I don't see you at any shows around town, and it's you're such a visible person in the community, which just coming out and supporting your friends. But you like a lot of different music. It's really cool to see out, man.
Yeah, dude, I go to everything. Like if I can like make it work, I'll go to it. Like I try and go to as many shows as I can that aren't my own.
Yeah.
And like on the DynaDuo Instagram, I try and promote as many shows as I can that aren't my own. So like if we do a show or we collaborate with you in any way, I'll like follow you on like all of our pages and stuff, and then like I'll watch my timeline to see what's going on, and I'll just make sure that I plug those people like as much as I plug my own stuff.
Yeah.
So like, and I try and do that in like the flesh as well. Like I was just telling you, like right before we started filming, I just left.
Yeah.
I just left my band practice, and our band practice is an old motel front that has like a dirt parking lot in front of it, and then just like a bunch of doors, like on 2 different levels. And we're on the bottom level, and the door right next to us was having like a DIY show for a really a cool band. I can't remember I think their name was like Rival Cult or something like that, but one of their members is the bassist of Municipal Waste.
Oh, crazy.
He was just chilling outside of our door while we're practicing, and like we can hear them, they can hear us. It was just kind of a fun experience. But like I love stuff for that. I've lived for stuff like that for years. Like the fact that like the hardcore scene and like all the really like heavy bands that play like the Shredder a lot and stuff are like keeping that alive and like keeping house shows alive. Like I love that stuff. Like I don't go to them nearly as often as I did when I was younger, like the house show scene, but I still like squeeze them in when I can, or if my friends like are doing it.
Sure.
Like absolutely. Like everything from the Idaho Center all the way down to someone's like living room. I don't care.
Yeah. PSA, if you have not been to a house show in Boise, Go.
Oh, yeah.
It is one of the most raw, just cool experiences. I mean, don't get me started because Boise needs more stages. At least it's a venue for people to gather and put on a show. But it's just something different there.
Yeah, there's more stages coming. I can feel it, and like there's always been like yeah, knock on wood, obviously, but like there's been like news stories for months about like businesses breaking ground in like Meridian that
Right.
have permits that suggest it's going to be a music venue, or like
Mhm.
stuff going on in Nampa with like the Ford Idaho Center and like venues and stuff. Like I would like to see more venues in Meridian specifically, because Meridian is something that doesn't really have any venues really. Like they have bars that like you can play at,
Right.
but they don't really have any designated venues like a Realms or a Shredder or something like that, you know what I mean? Like even Nampa has some. Like they don't have as many as they used to, but I think that's going to change because we're one of the fastest growing cities in the country right now.
Yeah, and
So-
as much as we pain ourselves we get frustrated about the population growth brings about a bunch more people. Boise being a metro now is that we get more restaurants, we get more, everything.
Yes.
So, music does follow suit with that too. So be patient. I mean, I keep all of these people who moved away from Boise 20, 30 years ago, I went to school with.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you should have waited. Why did you leave this place? Because now it's just thriving, and
Oh,
the
man.
culture is amazing.
It's so funny that because like where I come from in Great Falls, Montana, when I lived there was nothing. Like we had what was called Downpour Music Festival, which was a Christian music festival that came through every year, and that was pretty sick. We got bands like POD and Skillet and the Letter Black and Disciple and like cool bands like that. But other than that, you very occasionally got like a Four Seasons arena show, which was like kind of like a civic center type place. But you would have to go a couple hundred miles either to Billings or a couple hundred miles to Missoula to see like the Knitting Factory and Rev Level stuff, because it just never came there. Fast forward to a couple years ago, there's now a venue there that's essentially their knitting factory called the Newberry. And like I think that's amazing. Like I could not have fathomed something like that when I lived in Great Falls. Like the fact that they're getting shows like that now is awesome, and getting to see like the local scene in its infancy, because like there's some bands that have been there for a long time that I've known
Right.
for years, but like seeing all these new bands pop up that like I start like seeing them playing with like these older bands and stuff, like it's pretty cool. Like they're pretty good. Like Switch Off Safety is one of them.
Yeah,
like I've known,
small world.
Yeah, you brought them here a couple months ago. I have known those guys longer than I have known anybody in Boise, Idaho, bar none, because they're from where I'm from.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that was such a fun experience. So getting people to see our city, like, whoa, you have a thriving metal community.
Yeah.
Well, you have a thriving everything community. I don't think you can label the Treasure Valley one genre one way or another.
No.
Speaking of multi-genres, I've been meaning to ask this question. I don't mean to drop bombshells on you because you're a very relatable person. I think your honesty is always appreciated. But with the menagerie and the scale of bands that we do have in Boise, what advice do you have for them if they want to get to rungs of success, or maybe they want to play shows and pack shows? I mean, just talk about some global things that younger bands, or maybe even newer bands with experienced members, what should they be doing a little bit better, or any piece of advice that you might have?
First of all, on like a blanket statement, I would say if you're in a band and something's not going the way that you want it to, I would say that would be the first thing that you should start dissecting, just to see, like, break it down to see what's going on. But like on a broad perspective, if you want to like, if you're in a band already and you want to bring up your presence a little bit, professionalism, like leaning into that, is never a bad thing. So like brushing up on your, like, how professional your content looks online. You don't have to be like an influencer level content creator, but if you have like decent logos, decent art, keeping you like visually appealing and engaging and stimulating online, that will carry you further than just like throwing some stuff up there and just waiting to see what sticks.
Right.
And then like on the flip side of that, you also have to put in the footwork by going into these shows and like supporting these other people, so that way they want to do the same for you. Like it feels transactionary now, we need to get to a place where you do it because you want to, and you do it because the music's good and you appreciate what everybody's doing. Like, the worst thing you can do for yourself is like just kind of like section yourself off with like either you or like the group of bands that you sound like you and all of your friends. Like, don't try and just like work on your inner circle. You've got to like branch out and expand and like try and collaborate with these other people. And you might unlock something you didn't know you were capable of. Like, and on top of that, you also want to like work on like how you are as a musician, like perfecting your craft. Like, what's like, if you release 2 EPs one after the other and they sound exactly the same with the same level of production, it's like, did you really learn anything between those 2 records? Like, did you really grow as a person? So like, you need to take that into account. You need to take into account how other people view you. Like, you don't really need to care, but you need to take into account what like other people like think of you. And if you're not like happy with the results, then that's something you have to look at instead of saying, well, I don't care. Like, you can not care if you're in a comfortable place, but if you're not comfortable where you're at, you have to like take those things into account.
Yeah, 100%. Criticism or feedback, that seems to be a, what do you call that, like a fork in the road for some people. Like, they told me I suck. No. They didn't tell you that
they told you
suck.
what you need to work on.
They told you, exactly. And so that's one of the things is that I think that it's not necessarily it's the thick skin, but it's redirect the type of feedback or the thing and take it as an ounce of something that you can do to improve on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like being a team lead at like a borderline minimum wage job is like kind of how you need to behave in that regard. Like, or if you're giving criticism to somebody, like when I give criticism to somebody, I lead with a compliment. It's like, what I loved about what you were doing is this, and then I would jump into like, I would work on this, and then I would finish on another good thing. So it's like, I don't know, a manager that I worked with. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so my manager that I worked with for many years, and we're colleagues now, she calls it a shit sandwich. Like, just do like nice, bad, nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the positive sandwich. The positive shit sandwich is pretty awesome too. You get hit up by numerous of these ensembles. Hey, I want to work with you, or I want to get a show and be on a stage. Are you looking for local support of a touring act? What things you like about bands that approach you, or maybe you don't really appreciate that bands when they approach you about opportunities?
All promoters are different because all like opportunities are different. So like, I'm going to be different than like if you work with like Grimm in Twin Falls, or like my buddy Matt Gillespie, who like does a lot in like Salt Lake and like the Coeur d'Alene, Spokane area. So like it depends. Like, in my situation where I'm at, because I book primarily at the Knitting Factory, so I'm competing with a very competitive calendar. So like, the shows that I do there have to, well, I say I, but me and Will, the shows that DynaDuo has to do there have to be impactful.
Right.
Like, they have to give reason for the knit to want me to keep doing these shows. So for that reason, we do a lot of the build up ourselves. So like, I'm okay with bands coming to me and saying they want a show. What I'm personally not okay with at this point in time, it could be different in the future. What I'm personally not okay with at this time is when people come at me with pre-made lineups, because that puts me in a difficult spot, because it's like, well, I could take your word that like this is going to work, but like, statistically speaking, like, is it going to make us like break even so I can pay all of you guys? Like, because that's what I'm ultimately out to do, is like, I'm trying to make sure that bands put on a great show with a great crowd and they get paid. So like, if you bring a decent amount of people, you're going to get paid a lot more. So like, I try and lean towards bands that like have like drive to want to do that, or bands that have that established.
Yeah.
So like, that's where I hit with it. But I'll give anybody a try. I've put bands like both of the Dark Harvests that we've done, the first and second annual Dark Harvest, the openers of those shows, that was their first show. So like, I've done it before. I've helped people out, but like, I also knew those people from like previous stuff. I knew that they were like,
they could deliver,
strong-willed, and they can work.
Yeah.
So like, that was what I leaned into. But like, yeah, Keep Me Breathing, that actually ended up being their only show ever. Keep Me Breathing opened the first one, and now a couple of those guys are in A War in Me, But then the second show was Cursed Ones, and they're still around, and they're incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I just had them on a show a few months ago, and like those guys are like also in Our City Skyline, so I knew them from like back in the day. So like stuff like that. Like, and I also try and give like new people like as much like leeway as I can, because I've also got access to the smaller room upstairs at the 9th Street parallel. So like I try and do stuff like that, because I just did a show there last weekend for a band that just played Warped Tour a few months ago. So like I try and like keep some variety, but because I'm so limited on calendar space, there's only so much I can do. However, in recent months, I have established more of a foothold in like the Duck Club venues. I've been doing a lot more of those shows. So I've been doing shows at Treefort Music Hall and Shrine.
Yep.
So like there's like, I'm excited for next year, because it looks like this year was busy. I cannot imagine what next year is going to look like.
Well, this pace, you have to check out for you, but you know what I love about DynaDuo shows, and also the type of brand that you have produced over the long term to develop that feeling. You know, when people come into a DynaDuo show, there's something special, like you're going to see something great. So that's not all by accident. I think that you should be very proud about the long game that you established by, by taking care of the fans, by taking care of the bands, because, especially if you check those two large boxes, the show really can't fail.
Yeah, like, it's up to other people to tell me if I'm genuine or not. But if they feel like my shows are genuine when you arrive, and like you feel safe when you're there, which that's one of the highest compliments I can get, is like a drummer of a local band here that I've put on shows quite a few times. I was at the Knitting Factory one night for one of my shows. I think it was the Blacktooth Grin show. It was either that one or like one right before it. I can't remember. But I was at this show, and I was just hanging out outside, and the drummer of said band comes up the alleyway, and he's on his phone, and he doesn't see me for a second, and his daughter comes running out the front door, and she's like 15. His daughter comes running out the front door and like is getting ready to leave with him, and he turns around and he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And he tells me, he's like, "Yeah, I just dropped off my daughter, and like it's your show. Like I know she's gonna be fine. So like she wanted to come to the show, I couldn't make it. So like I let her go."
That's
so
amazing.
Like stuff like that, I'm like, as a father, you can like understand. Like I'm like, dude, like that's great. Like if you like, my shows are violent sometimes. So like if you feel that safe about your kids coming to like my violent shows, like that's awesome. Like, and I love that people like love coming to the shows. Like I get a lot of compliments from people online that are like, I love that it's like no bullshit, it's just bands having fun, even if it's like not the genre I'm there necessarily to see. Everybody's having fun. I try and MC the shows, so like I'll be like introducing the bands and stuff, and like I try and keep it like fun and like light and shit. I joke around and stuff.
Yeah, as you should. Yeah, because we're not dirging here. Like music should be fun, and it's a celebration. It's a hanging around with our bros and our sisters and everybody who we love and cherish. And music is such a great place to be. So parking the promoter side, the business side, you're an active performer in the scene with the projects that you have going on. So with all of that, you're a busy business person. Do you feel like you're giving it your all with these projects, or you have to make time and make sure you are working on your vocal instrument, try to make sure that that isn't lagging behind the success you're having over on the business side?
Thankfully, it hasn't really interrupted a whole lot. Like I'm also, right now is the wrong time to ask me that, because I'm also getting married this month. So essentially from
Scott!
Essentially from like 3 weeks ago until mid-October, I'm not sorry, the light went off?
Yeah.
No, you're good. But essentially
live to tape.
Essentially from 3 weeks ago until mid-October, like I am swamped. But with Dead at Dawn, we're just recording right now, and literally everybody in that band is also in another band.
Yeah.
So like we all understand, like we meet on Sundays, that's 100% DIY. We record ourselves. We all go to our guitarist's house in Homedale, do everything ourselves, like at his house. And then Suturist, I have designated days of the week for them, and then I just schedule shows and everything accordingly.
That's great.
So yeah, like it all falls into place nicely, like to be determined as like stuff gets busier and busier, because like Suturist wants to start recording soon, and Dead at Dawn wants to like start getting ready to like release music and play shows soon, I imagine. So like, and then DynaDuo is gonna like keep doing shows as long as the venues still want me to.
Yeah.
So like we'll see what the future looks like. I know that next year is going to be very busy and very crazy, but also very good, because we've got some stuff that we haven't even announced yet for the end of the year that's insane.
Secrets. I love secrets.
But that'll be coming very soon.
Yeah. Well, you should be very proud of these balances that you've struck, both as a performer but also as a supporter of the music scene and what you do. So, this is going to be pop quiz time.
Okay.
How much stuff can you plug at the tail end of this interview of anything? All right, let's. I'm gonna keep track here.
Okay, so Suturist has got a couple of shows coming up. September 13th, we play in Richland, Washington with Hemlock, and then we play September 18th over at Treefort Music Hall with Basement, Reverie, The Latest Victim, and Emerge. And then after that, we go October 5th to Shrine Social Club, and we play with Vended and Emerge again. And then we have The Haunting on Stagecoach, which is going to be a big free event at 6896, I believe is the address, Stagecoach Road.
Yep.
On October 11th with Problematic, Withstand the Sands, Empire Crawlouts, and Lovecraft, which is Andy Agenbrod, who's also a sponsor of the event.
Yeah.
And it's his band's debut show. And then DynaDuo has a couple other shows coming other than that. Like September 14th, I'm bringing Hemlock to Boise with Buried Faith and one more opening band to be determined, because unfortunately one just dropped off. I'll be talking about that soon. But Buried Faith, A War in Me. Yeah. So yeah, like we got a lot of stuff coming up. But if you wanted to go to the DynaDuo Instagram, I pretty much keep everything up to date there on what's going on.
That's great.
Or Facebook, Twitter, it's all everywhere.
Yeah, the social media ecosystem.
How'd I do?
You did great. Like, well, there was 6 events that you plugged, but then like a bunch that you kind of left in the mystery box.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because all of a sudden, like these DynaDuo announcements, they explode, and then you kind of like go in for like almost a week to a month, and then all of a sudden they just explode again. So you're just a surprise, and it's just like a birthday party every time that you open up that package. So we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, we've got a show announcing Monday.
Oh, cool.
We've got a show announcing Monday. We've got like the new opener announcement coming up. We've got a big one at Treefort Music Hall we haven't announced yet, and then we've also got our annual show that I haven't even discussed with anybody. And that is going to be insane. So if everything lands the way that I'm hoping it is with what I'm planning right now.
Yeah, you're doing great.
So we'll see.
Well, Scott, it has been a pleasure. Thanks for hanging out in the studio of Doom here. There's some cool stuff that's coming via the studio here pretty soon, so I can't wait to talk about that. Yeah. But as for my first in-studio interview, I really appreciate that it was with Scott Charles. So, Boise music scene, we'll see you around. Thanks so much for watching.
Static out September 5th.